We did a video about meme and gene. It's one of the key concepts in the book, The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins. But now today I'm going to do a video, another key concept in the book. It is the phenotype. These are some basic evolutionary concepts that can give us something to work with, even if you're not an evolutionary biologist or a student of evolutionary biology. You can still use some of these fundamental concepts that explain the world the way it is, like how our biology works. This is basic genetics for strategic thinking and for a basically framed structure to understand the world the way it is, using scientific tools, in this case, tools provided by biology or evolutionary biology. I think phenotype is one of those basic key concepts. So what is a phenotype? This is an introduction beyond the body. What is a phenotype? Now we're going to get out of our body and see what's going on the outside. When we look at a living being, what do we actually see? What we see is called its phenotype. This isn't just about how it looks, but every single observable characteristic it possesses. From the color of your eyes to your height or even your ability to speak, these are all aspects of your phenotype. In fact, it's any property of interest extending even to relational phenomena like pair bonding. Traditionally, when biologists talk about a phenotype, they mean the physical or behavioral manifestations of an organism's genes. It's the intricate dance between your genetics and your environment that produces your unique phenotype, P, summarized as P equals G plus E. So your phenotype equals your genetic plus your environment. Think of height. It's influenced by many genes, but also by nutrition and health. When geneticists talk about genes for a trait, they are actually referring to genetic differences that cause a difference in the phenotype. Genes collaborate and interact in complex ways with each other and with their external environment. But what if the reach of a gene extends far beyond the individual body it inhabits? What if its influence shapes the world itself? That's where the revolutionary concept of the extended phenotype comes in. So it's very important. So we have phenotype, now we have the extended phenotype. So part one is the extended phenotype, the gene's long reach. In his influential 1982 book, The Extended Phenotype, Richard Dawkins argued that restricting the idea of the phenotype to only apply to the phenotypic expression of an organism's own genes is arbitrary. He proposed that a gene's phenotypic effects should be thought of as all the effects it has on the world, not just on the body in which it resides. These effects are the tools by which a gene levers itself into the next generation. Crucially, this is a disciplined extension, not a profligate range of apparently plausible extensions. For something to qualify as an extended phenotype, its success or failure must affect the frequency of the alleles responsible for variation within the gene pool. Let's look at some remarkable examples. Animal architecture. Consider a beaver dam and the lake it creates. Dawkins argues these are true extended phenotypes. Why? Because variation in the beaver's genes, replicators, have a direct causal link to variations in the dams it builds. Over generations, genes associated with building good dams are favored in the gene pool over those associated with bad dams. In this sense, the beaver's dam is as much an adaptation as its own tail. Similarly, bird nests and caddis houses are also examples of extended phenotypes built by the animal but serving the propagation of their genes. Even more complex are termite mounds. Their morphology is influenced by genes from numerous individual worker termites, but also potentially by genes in fungi, but symbionts, and even the termite's own mitochondria. Dawkins views the termite mound as analogous to an organism, with its embryology being determined by a heterogeneously sourced genetic input. Manipulation of other organisms. The concept extends even to genes in one organism affecting the body of another organism. Take snails parasitized by certain flukes. These snails develop extra thick shells. While one might think this benefits the snail, Dawkins reframes it. The parasite's genes are manipulating the host's body to their own benefit, making the host a better survival machine for the parasite. Another striking example is the cuckoo chick. The cuckoo's gape, the inside of its mouth, has characteristics that act like a drug on the host's nervous system, manipulating the host bird into feeding it. Dawkins explains that cuckoo genes having extended phenotypic effects on host behavior. The central theorem of the extended phenotype states that an animal's behavior tends to maximize the survival of the genes for that behavior. Whether or not those genes happen to be in the body of the particular animal performing it. It doesn't matter where the gene physically sits. Natural selection favors genes that manipulate the world to ensure their own propagation. Replicators, vehicles, and the rise of memes. At the heart of Dawkins' view is a distinction between replicators and vehicles. Genes are the replicators, the fundamental units that make copies of themselves, and whose survival or failure determines the course of evolution. Our bodies, individual organisms, are the vehicles. We are simply survival machines built by these genes to protect and propagate them into the next generation. The extended phenotype illustrates that the weapons in the fight for those replicators, their phenotypic effects, can extend far beyond the immediate confines of the individual body. But Dawkins didn't stop at biological genes. He proposed that the principles of evolution by natural selection could apply to other kinds of replicators. He specifically noted the emergence of a new kind of replicator in the soup of human culture. To describe this cultural replicator, Dawkins coined the term meme. He chose the word meme because it came from the Greek root mimeme, or meme, meaning imitation, and sounded similar to gene. What is a meme? You can go back to our video, but let me tell you briefly what a meme is. It is defined as a unit of cultural transmission or a unit of imitation. Examples include tunes, ideas, catchphrases, clothing fashions, ways of making pots or building arches. Memes propagate by leaping from brain to brain via a process which can be called imitation. They are living structures, not just metaphorically, but technically. Just like genes, memes also possess survival value based on their longevity, fecundity, which means how many copies they make, and copying fidelity. They compete for brain time and memory storage space. This illustrates how the concept of replication, central to the extended phenotype, can be generalized beyond DNA to cultural evolution. The power of the replicator view. The concept of the phenotype, especially its extended form, fundamentally reshapes our understanding of evolution. By shifting the focus from the individual organism to the replicator, the gene, and later the meme, Dawkins provides a powerful lens through which to view life. This perspective helps us understand not only the intricacies of biological adaptation, but also the dynamics of cultural evolution. But of course, beyond meme and gene, you want to look at the phenotype and the extended phenotype. These basic concepts give you some tools to think about the world in terms of evolutionary theory, and indeed only in terms of strategy. Thank you for being here. Like, share, subscribe, and comment.